Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel or our website. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a watch of great historical and technical interest. This is the Harry Winston Opus One by Francois-Paul Journe, containing his 5-day Octa automatic caliber. The timepiece is platinum, 38 millimeters in diameter by 11.2 millimeters thick. Compress the double hinged lugs as much as possible, and the span across the case is 49.7 millimeters. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, the strap is anthracite, somewhere between gray and black, but not quite jet black. There's some bolstering to give it a bit of body and volume. You can see the edge is shear cut, showing the layers of construction. There's a monotone anthracite stitch, and you can see this is a proprietary strap because of the junction with the lugs. On the underside, you can see calfskin. And Harry Winston Rare Timepieces. That was the name of the division of Harry Winston that built this watch. Pull tab spring bars allow quick removal of the strap from the case without tools. And as with many platinum watches, this watch features a white gold clasp, as white gold is harder than platinum, and it is the hardest of the golds, and thus immune to the kind of deformation that normally befalls platinum clasps. Deployant with the Harry Winston logo and arch motif inspired by the New York flagship store. You can see that arch motif doubles up as we return to the watch itself. It's on the lugs, it's on the end of the case at 6 and 12, and the idea is to reference the Harry Winston flagship and original store in New York, so that arch motif found throughout, but the dial and the movement very much F.P. Journe. Well, the case references as existing late 80s and 1990s Harry Winston watch design language. The idea of the Opus series was to bring in outside watchmakers, either established masters or rock stars on the rise. Max Buser, later of MB&F, moved from his previous role in engineering and project management at Jaeger-LeCoultre to join Harry Winston. He asked what the point of a Harry Winston watch was, and then he answered his own question. By creating these collaborations with recognized or rising masters, he created a workshop effectively giving those watchmakers a platform and the resources to realize their dream. And the Opus One, the first of the series, was created by F.P. Journe. There were 3 Opus One models. One was his resonance chronometer, one was his tourbillon remontoir movement, and one was the Octa automatic, the first ever 5-day power reserve automatic movement. 6 examples of each were made, no 2 of any 6 exactly alike. So this is a piece unique, and the 5 other examples of the Octa Opus One are also unique. Naturally, a Harry Winston watch that is going to feature diamonds should feature Harry Winston diamonds. Take a quick look at the lugs, and you can see their ends have been engraved, leading into pavement of diamonds on the lug profile. And then on the dial, we'll get as close as we can here without corrupting the focus. You can see Harry Winston diamonds are used on white gold tracks for the power reserve as well as for reading the hours and minutes, and we'll just break those 2 hands apart so you can see them. You'll also note the use of brilliant cut blue sapphires effectively as hour indices. Now, the timepiece features a mother of pearl dial, the double-digit date, the 120-hour power reserve indicator, the separate hours, minutes, and seconds, but a Harry Winston logo. And though this is clearly F.P. Journe's Octa dial layout, for the most part, the design language on this side is Harry Winston. But note, animated by F.P. Journe, invented and made, and that should be recognizable to F.P. Journe collectors. Now, 120 hours of indicated power reserve, F.P. Journe fans are going to know that the movement can run for almost 160, at which point it will drop dead, but the best timekeeping takes place over 120 hours, so that's what's indicated on the power reserve indicator. There is a quick set for the double-digit date. It is blue on silver printed. You pull the crown out to its intermediate position, and then you turn and you quick set the date. Taking a quick look at the crown, you can see it's a fascinating toothed design. Roll everything over, and this is the first version of the Octa caliber 1300 bidirectional winding. You can see that the rotor has been freehand engraved with the logos of Harry Winston as well as F.P. Journe. Now, you'll note this is a brass movement F.P. Journe, so in addition to being a historically important Harry Winston piece, the Opus One is also brass movement era F.P. Journe. Why is it silver? Because of the rhodium on top of the brass. You can see the Octa is recognizable with its signature off-centered rotor. It's adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer, free sprung for durability, and beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. The 120-hour power reserve, again, is conservative. It's the chronometric power reserve. It'll run for almost 7 days. But what's interesting about this movement is that it is one of the originals and thus a bidirectional winder rather than the later unidirectional winder. And this because a lot of the winding system parallels the architecture of the ETA 2892. And this I've been told by watchmakers. The timepiece is finished in a manner that is characteristic of early Journe, with mostly mechanical execution, but a few notable highlights, including the beveling on the rotor, the tightness of the engine turning on the base plate, and the black polishing of the screws. The Côte de Genève are perfectly aligned across bridges, and then, of course, the movement itself is rather engaging and entertaining, with a handsome overall architecture for an automatic, and that is not always the case for automatic watches. Let me get that wire out of the way. So this watch, of course, deserves to be discussed in the context of Harry Winston watchmaking history, FP Journe watchmaking history, and MB&F, as the very concept of this watch, a collaboration with independent watchmakers and watchmaking masters, was later adopted by Max in his Max Bucer and Friends collaborative series, and that was MB&F. 4 years after this watch was made. Well, the very first friend was FP Journe, and this was the first of the Opus series, which I believe is now on number 14, but sometimes the original is the best. Piece unique. For fans of horology, FP Journe, independent watchmaking, Max Bucer, or Harry Winston and its legacy, email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.